And hello to all my friends. I'd like to welcome you in. My name is Scott Sagent, and today I'll be doing your Quadrants video for 2023, the much-awaited Quadrants video. So what is a quadrant and how does it apply to you? Well, each sign is getting your own video, your own divination. I've done all the heavy lifting and all the reading stuff ahead of time, so you'll notice I don't even have a tarot card on this table. That's all been done. We're just going to go over your notes here. So what is a quadrant? A quadrant is a quarter of a circle. So if we look at your year, like the full encompassing circle, we're going to take a piece of the pie out of that and break it down one quarter at a time. Each quadrant is going to represent 3 months of your year. The first quadrant is going to be January, February, March. The second quadrant will be April, May, June. The third will be July, August, September. And the fourth, of course, October, November, December. Now, of course, if you're great at taking notes, you only have to kind of watch this video once. You take some awesome notes that you can refer back to. For everybody else, this video will be up permanently. It's not going anywhere. So you can come back to reflect on your quadrants as they happen. I think it's best to check out your quadrant right before the new one starts so you can reflect back on the one that just passed and also get your new information for the one that you're about to live so you can remember and kind of refresh. So either way you're going to do that will be just fine. And let's go over a couple important other things here. Of course, this is the only time of year that I do quadrants it's basically because I go out a whole year. And the further out you go and the further out you look in divination, the fuzzier it gets. I think that's pretty much self-explanatory to everybody. Most people understand that. And for that reason, I usually don't divine out this far. I don't extrapolate out for 12 months. Usually I do like 6 at the most. So this is the only time of year that I do that, first of all. And, divination forecasting here is an outline. So this is not the specifics of your entire year, but it presents an outline that you can plan and prepare very important things too. So for example, we're going to look at things like vacation amongst 10 other topics here. So what is the best quadrant for you to take a vacation in? Spirit's going to figure this out by your sign and give you a couple bingos here, a couple little peaks or little marks here, little check marks on the map of when this would be the best time for you guys, for your sign to do that. Of course, this is a general reading and we have a lot of bubble energy tuning in to your sign, and that muddles it up a little bit. So that's why you really need a personal at the end of the day. And quadrants for the first time is being offered as a personal product, an audio product, so that way you have a keepsake and something to refer back to as well. But it's all about you and that. So what else are we going to talk about here? First of all, it's going to be generally a positive reading. The reason I do that, I don't do all just positive readings. Some people do that. I don't. I kind of give you the whole thing. But to keep this kind of short and concise, we cannot talk about every single thing that is going to happen in your year. And both, whether we talk about good or bad things, they're both good for planning and preparation, because the bad things you would just try to avoid and the good things you would just go and move towards. Because at the end of the day, they're both functional. They both get the job done, but one is much better well received than the other. Much people would gravitate toward the positive, and hey, if it was a reading that was all about negativity, nobody wants to hear that. And then there would be those people that would be scared of certain events, and that just doesn't help. That only kind of brings it in more. It attracts it more. So we don't want any of that stuff. So this is going to be a relatively positive reading, long story short. Okay, so without further ado, now that you understand the ground rules, let's get moving with planning and preparing for your year. Okay guys, here we go with Gemini Quadrants 2023. You're going to notice there are no cards on my table. That's because all the cards have been written down into here. So I can just basically read it all off to you. Get you on your way, living your year in strength and confidence. Leave those cards right there because they're already used and done up. So let's get started guys. Quadrant 1, January, February, and March, referring to my notes. The main theme for the entire quadrant is going to be about transportation. Focus on the transportation. Let's get the car, the motorcycle, whatever you got going on here for transportation. Let's get it done, maintained, maybe replaced for some people, depending on what you got going. But transportation is a big focus for January, February, and March for a lot of my great Geminis. Now we have a ping coming up for work, and they talk about in Quadrant 1, and they talk about with others. So this is group work. And this is something that they want you to consider, or if you're already doing something like this, there's something sweet in there. There's nice rewards and good camaraderie, either with the group or maybe incentives or good payback for it. So we have good group work energy coming in. And work corner is a big place. It's work, business, enterprise, area of study, collegiate courses, retirement if you're of that age, entrepreneurship, learning something new, hobbies, interests, any of those that you got going on, they talk about with a group, guys, okay? So very good for Quadrant 1. We have another ping for Quadrant 1 in health. They want you to blow this up quick, okay? Time is overdue for something. What is it for you? I mean, the context you're going to have to bring to that. That's really why you need a personal quadrants video. But in a general, that's pretty much the best I can do for you. Is that they want you to radically change something here, and the time is overdue. So that means like you let this go for too far, and you know what? Now is the time to actually undo something. Let's do it differently. Let's do it differently right now. These 3 months. They give you 3 months to work with. So if you don't want to do it right now in January, let's say it's something like drinking. You know, I'm going to give up drinking altogether, right? Well, maybe I'm not quite ready in January. Well, okay, that's fine. Spirit's giving you a couple more months to work with that here. But let's say, you know, you set a deadline for yourself. Maybe, you know, if it's something you're going to get rid of, like full moon energy, let's say you're going to use the full moon of February to do such things. So set a plan in motion, guys, and use this to your benefit, because they're talking about this for a reason, and they're saying that you got to really address this in Quadrant 1 or else it's not going to be pretty. It's not looking good. We have another ping here for busy and productive. It's a good time for Geminis to get busy and productive in Quadrant 1 by nurturing their mindset. So this is making sure you get busy, but you keep your head in the game. Be sharp, be focused. Don't let yourself get like run ragged or to the point where your mental health is getting affected by the fact that you're busy and doing so many things. Maybe this work group thing they talked about and how sweet that can be for you. We have another ping with vacation that comes up in Quadrant 1. They talk about when the stagnation breaks, though. Okay, so that implies that there's stagnation somewhere in here. Maybe the first, 6 weeks of the year, something like that. That's half of this quadrant is stagnated as far as like, it's really not a good time to take a vacation right now. Not really a good time to do like a relaxation trip. Now, they also bring up north, so I feel like wherever you are located, this is something north of you. If you're, let's say you're at the tippy top of Michigan. Well, unless you're going to go to Canada, or Alaska, there's not much further north you can go than there. But for a lot of my audience, they wanted to bring up north. They want you to consider doing something that is above you, latitudinally. Okay, let's do it that way. That is our last ping there for Quadrant 1. Let's move into Quadrant 2, guys. Quadrant 2 moves us into April, May, and June. The big theme, the big umbrella theme they want to talk about here is taking great pride in and building. They really want you to get focused on what you're trying to do here and to work on building something up. So whether it's stacking finances or really getting your health on track, or whether it's really kind of getting your work on track, you're building something. So you're working toward goals, you're getting things done. And by doing so, you're taking great pride in things and you're not letting anything go to hell. Okay? So don't neglect anything. If there's I don't know, let's say an old lawnmower that's sitting in the corner of your garage and you haven't used it in like 4 years. You don't even know if it works anymore. This would be something to get rid of. That's not you taking pride in something. That's you letting something sit there. Okay, so that's a silly example, but I think you understand the energy. We have our first love ping that comes in Quadrant 2 for Geminis, and this is small wins. And they want to let you know that slow is okay in Quadrant 2. So small wins add up to big wins. Should not be discounted. Do what you got to do depending on what you're doing. I mean, everybody's love situation is different. Some people are single. If that's the case, small wins are like meeting some good people, going on some quality dates, really trying to figure out some of this stuff. If you're coupled up in a relationship, love small wins could be more with the family, more with things that you're doing. You guys are accomplishing goals. The love situation is improving. The romance is getting higher, all that kind of stuff. So we got small wins coming up there. And of course, family stuff can come up if you're single too. I'm just giving you a couple different examples quick. We have another ping here for finances, basically saying Quadrant 2 for Gemini, that saving is the best quadrant. Quadrant 2 is the best time for you guys to save. It doesn't mean that you have to save everything, but save it. It's the best time to save. So if you're looking to try to save and like accrue a little bit of your nest egg, Quadrant 2, which is April, May, and June, this is the best time to do it, guys. We have a ping for taking risks. This is our first risky Gemini ping. We have completion required to heal. Okay, so really they want you to take risks here with something that you're trying to fix or heal. It makes me feel health related, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. So what are you trying to heal from in quadrant 2. It's going to be different for everybody, and you may not know that right now when you're viewing this maybe in January until quadrant 2 comes. So keep that in mind too. They talk about completion required to heal. Okay, so we're just going to leave that there as a profound message from Spirit that you're going to apply at that time. Quadrant 3, guys, this is your busiest quadrant of the year. We move into July, August, and September. The first thing they talk about as the big theme is getting beyond small, what they call stick fights, likely to do with work. So this is small little disagreements with work or challenges with work not going the way you want these 3 months, somewhere in there. And of course, this doesn't apply to all 3 months, but it's saying this is where it falls. This is where this situation occurs. So they want you to kind of get beyond this, grow above it, high road. Don't let this work stuff bother you and move beyond it. That is the big theme, though, for the quadrant. Quadrant 3, we got a ping for work, talking about bad luck. So that kind of reinforces what we just talked about here. So they're letting you know that this is not your fault, but it's also not the other guy's fault either. It's not the boss's fault. It's more than likely this is just bad luck. Things just kind of fell in weird ways here. Whatever you got going on in that work corner in quadrant 3, they want you to do things by the book. Okay, so maybe you're being watched. Maybe, you're being observed for a raise. That would be the good version of it. But they want you to do things by the book, so no doing anything in ways that you're not supposed to do. And that can also be a little bit of getting the toxic out, but it feels more like it's what's the word I'm trying to pull? It more like routine, or more like it's just the rules of what you're supposed to do in your job. Maybe you're supposed to wear your apron a certain way. Maybe you're supposed to wear a certain kind of shoes, or maybe you're supposed to tuck your shirt in, whatever it is, something like that. By the book, okay? That's what applies to by the book. We got a health ping coming in for quadrant 3 with the weird phase will end and then health will flourish. That implies that there will be a weird phase somewhere between, I guess, 1 and 3. So just know that quadrant 3 brings in promises of great health once you get beyond kind of the weird stuff. And what that weird stuff is, well, when it hits, you're going to probably recognize it dead on, especially now that you have this information and you know what you got to do to fix it. And then after that, you know that it's going to be on the up and up. Things are going to get really great. Like I said, a lot of information in quadrant 3. Q3 also talks about busy and productive with action, money, and health. Okay, so we got money moving around, we got health moving around. This is time that they want you to take action, guys. It could be both, or it could just be a focus on money, or it could just be a focus on health. But quadrant 3 is an action time for one of those two things, or maybe both. We have a vacation ping for quadrant 3. We have good returning karma and blessed coming in. So this is something here that for a vacation will really rejuvenate you, really make you feel good. This is a great quadrant to do these kind of things. It's probably good timing because it helps balance all the other crazy stuff that is going on or that you have been through to arrive at this place. Now, they also tell you that this is a good quadrant to take risks and go for it, especially in regards to a work event. There may be a work event or a party or a gathering or an expo or something like that, maybe a team trip that you guys are doing or something like that, maybe even a party, but we have work event coming in, and this is something they want you to take a risk to and go to. So maybe it feels like something that work is asking you to do that maybe you don't want to do on the front end. Hey, would you go to Phoenix to represent us at this conference? Oh, no, I don't want to do that. Well, maybe you should, okay? Spirit is saying take risks with work event type stuff, quadrant 3. We also have quadrant 3 as being tied down and really they want you to breathe, being the safe and conservative message here. So when things get tight, when you get busy and strapped down, they really want you to just play it safe. That is not the time to take risks. When you're super busy and you're not thinking clearly and you're not well rested, all that kind of stuff, and they bring in breathe, like basically saying relax. You don't got to stress out about this stuff. It's going to be okay. You can just kind of let it simmer down and simmer yourself down for some of you. Quadrant 4. This is where the year gets very kind of open for you guys. The last 3 months, which is October, November, December, it really opens up. They don't have much to say either. Now, the big theme is that if any of you are waiting for big money by the end of the year, of course, this probably doesn't make sense to you right now either, but let's say, for whatever reason, you're promised money in quadrant 2 or 3, and you're expecting it by the end of the year. Here, they're saying that there is money on a delay here in quadrant 4. So money, something that you may expect, may come later than you really would like it to. So it doesn't mean it's not coming. It just means it's not coming right now or when you want it to. Quadrant 4 also has a ping for love. That's our last ping for love. They talk about this has to do with close family and friends. So they're letting us know that this is not romantic. This is a love correspondence that comes in with close family and friends specifically. Good time to spend more time with those people than usual. That's always a good message for the holidays with November, Thanksgiving, and Christmas as well. So really great time for family, guys. Really great for my Gemini. So go ahead and do as much of that as you can. Even if it's like going to see your old family that maybe you don't get a chance to do very much, Quadrant 4 is a great time to do that kind of stuff, guys. We have a financial ping for Gemini in Quadrant 4, letting you know that this is about choices into the home and that this is not a fate-driven thing. This is things that you chose to do here. So the best financial moves for the home that, just something you want to do, maybe like a luxury item or an improvement or an upgrade here, something like that that's not really required, but hey, I want to replace every ceiling fan in the house. Just because the old ones are ugly, just because I want to, whatever it is here. They bring that up in Quadrant 4 that this is the time to do it, and they're letting you know that this is a choice by you and it's not something that needs to be done. So choices there for finances in the home in Quadrant 4. That wraps us up, guys. So basically you can see how this outlines your entire year, and that is why you need a personal product called the Quadrants Personal Product, same namesake. I put it together for this month only. This is the only year that I extrapolate a year out. And basically, we're looking at the personal version of this, but for you, there is no bubble Gemini energy in that personal product, and therefore, it is extremely accurate and allows you to implement great change into your entire year with as little stress as necessary. Much going with the current, being smooth instead of dealing with the rigidity, and that's what it's all about, guys. So make sure you check that out on scottsagent.com. I hope you guys have a great 2023, and I'll see you soon.